Hello everybody, back here again for our vlog a day, and today is Tuesday the 19th, and today was a lovely, beautiful day. We had a little bit of drizzle late in the evening, but not enough to matter any, so got this morning, fairly decent time, not super early. Got up, got around a little bit, hung on the balcony for a little while of the cabin, and then headed up to get my run in, got that taken care of, got back down, got a shower. My lovely bride gotten up and got herself around, went down, grabbed herself some breakfast, and just like every time in the galley, they have something screwed up with our order. Every time it's always something. I don't know why things can't go just without having a mess up. It's never anything major, but it's always just something that delays us and screws up whatever. So we got our food, got eaten, basically headed out, decided we're going to go wander around Bimini and the Bahamas there. We're going to just chill out. We didn't really know what we were doing exactly per se, and they had a trolley that ran like every 5 minutes that ran around everywhere, and they said it had 3 stops on it. So that, well, we'll jump on the trolley, we'll ride around. Worst case scenario, we'll make a full loop and then go back to see where we wanted to see. And then we hopped on the trolley, ran down to the first stop was the beach club at the far-ish chunk of the island, and thought, well, we might as well just get off because couldn't see shit from the road. So we hopped off the tram, wandered around there, talked to people, looked at a few things, and thought, okay, we kind of got the feel of it. Jumped back on the trolley and we headed back. The next stop they stopped us at was Kayak Beach, and the guy's like, either get off now or you're going back to the boat. And I'm like, they said there was 3 stops on this thing, like there's 3 places you guys are gonna hit, all 3 stops, and then come back, whatever. And he's like, no, that's it. And I'm like, what the hell? Which I think the 3rd stop was actually the golf carts by the Hilton. I think they were supposed to drop us off as like pulled there and offer to stop there as well, but they didn't. So we got off at Kayak Beach. Karen thought the Hilton was back behind us. They said there was a giant sign, we couldn't miss it. Never saw the Hilton sign at all, so we're like, I'll just walk that way and see what happens. So headed back there, ended up renting ourselves a golf cart, not a go-kart. Go-kart would have been much more fun, actually. Rented a golf cart and paid our $70, whatever. It's one of those things that a lot of people are like, like, oh, they paid less, and they kind of haggled and hassled. I'm like, who gives a shit? Like, I could argue the guy and probably get him down to like $50, but $20 is not going to change my life, and $20 might help them a whole lot more in their community and their economy at the process. So jumped in the golf cart, ran around a little bit, basically just headed down through town, the opposite direction of the beach club. Hit a couple of side roads here and there, mainly just kind of drove the main drag through, saw some little straw markets, stopped in there, looked a little bit of shopping, saw a couple items we wouldn't mind having, saw a shirt that Karen liked for myself, and then she had a bag, but she said she liked the look of the bag, but said she probably never used the bag at all. So we kind of said, hey, we'll think about it in case there's other markets or other places later on down that way. You hate buying the first thing you see and then find it better, a better item later for the same money, or, who cares, but it's just a better item. So we drove on down and just kept on driving through town, hit a little place, like some little pizza shop that everybody says is super great, and man, it looks sketchy as shit. I was like, I don't think I want to eat there. And I've eaten duck feet and chicken feet in New York. I'm like, no, I still didn't want to eat their pizza. So it kind of made me a little bit nervous. But we headed on down, ended up this little end of the island, and this little peninsula spot where it just kind of runs into a bunch of pine trees. Parked the go-kart, I keep saying go-kart, golf cart. Parked the golf cart, chained up the steering wheel, because that's how they basically keep people from stealing, I guess, is you put a bike lock cable around the steering wheel and the seat and keep them turning the wheel, I guess. I think it's more of just fake security, but it's an island that's like, I don't know, 7 kilometers long, so it can't go very far on this thing if they did steal your golf cart. So there's really only 2 roads. There's a high road and a low road and a bunch of little side roads in between, but hung out there a little bit, saw some beautiful rock, gorgeous water. There was like one of those little, like, I don't know, blowholes or glory holes, whatever you call it, type deal, where the water comes in the tide and the waves, and it basically splashes up through this giant hole in the rock. And it was really cool looking. Had a great time, hung out there a little bit, walked around, saw an old sunken shipwreck that's rusting away like crazy. We were trying to figure out, do you think that boat's been there for 20 years and that boat's been there for 100 years? Like, it takes a while to rust through, that thick of a steel boat like that, and it has not got much left. So it's been rusting there for a long ass time. But hung out there, gave up on it, finally headed back, jumped in the cart, ended up taking the high road this time back up through, saw a couple other spots, found a little spot at the beach to hike around on a little bit, whatever, had a good time. From there we wandered out, just doing not much of anything, drove in the cart all the way back down, stopped at a little hardware store, little convenience store type thing, ended up buying her a mango, I think I was thinking mango flavored, maybe pineapple flavored, like little soda thing, made by Coca-Cola, but clearly never sold in the States, and it was $2.25 for a single. I was like, well, it's kind of pricey. Like, it was literally our last stop a few miles over there was $1, and that included the tax. I'm like, okay, what the hell? So It's like, yeah, it is what it is. We got that. We headed on down. Ended up going back past the beach club again. Went from there and looked down. They have like it's like dorms and stuff where the beach club employees stay. Then some fancier houses. There's some private areas. There's a bunch of Airbnbs there. You can go rent an Airbnb on the island and have yourself, I guess, a little spot. But I got the beach club for a little bit. Ended up having ourselves some lunch. Ended up having a curry, and then I had like a sea bass. If I think I remember right, it was sea bass. I had just hung out there for a little while, and there was a bonfire going to happen at 7:15 is supposed to start this giant bonfire thing, which when you think bonfire at the beach, you think a bunch of driftwood, you think actual like fire, and there's these two giant metal like globes that are all cut out in weird shapes that I believe is going to be propane powered bonfire is my guess. And I was like, okay, whatever. And we basically ran back around, ended up kind of just running around the area a little bit, had our lunch, ran back out to that peninsula on the far end of the island. So now we're going from one tip to the other basically. So we're going back to the other side of the island. Gorgeous views. The water was stunning. Decided to sit there, have ourselves a nice little cigar in the process. We was going to buy some lawn chairs at the hardware store or whatever, something like convenience store, just buy a lawn chair or two to sit out there and not have to sit on the hard rocks. And instead we said, hell, we stole a towel from the beach club, and we already had one from the boat, and thought we'll just sit on the beach towels, no problem. Well, then I got there and realized I can back the golf cart in to the edge of this little cliff area overlooking the water. So we just sat on the back of the golf cart, the seats facing backwards. So we just sat there, enjoyed the water, enjoyed the view. A little bit windy for a cigar, but not too bad. Had another couple who pulled up shortly after we got there. We were chatting with them for a while. They walked on the beach, got back up. We ended up talking to them for quite some time. Just fun old couple, talking about a lot of random things and dumb decisions and bad things in life that happened and things that we did well and things we were happy about and whatever. And had a really impressive conversation with strangers. You usually don't have conversations that get that in depth of talking about medical things and just dealing with in-law, mother-in-law, or mother that had Alzheimer's and different things, and just a lot of the struggles that go with that kind of stuff involved too. So I think at time they finally headed back. Shortly after that, we decided to head back also. Ran around a little bit, kind of just didn't really do much of anything, just kind of wandered around a little bit, kind of seeing every little side street we could find. Decided to head back to the boats. We had 5:30 dinner reservations, which our thought was if our dinner goes quickly, which this should be a quicker restaurant, it's just a Mexican restaurant. Mexican food does not take that long, and it's not like they're trying to do a big fancy presentation like test kitchen and stuff. There's a good chance we get there right at 5:30, maybe even a little bit early, like as they're opening up. We can then get in and out of there and be out of there by maybe we can get out of there in an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half or more, 2 hours it takes normally. We might be able to jump on the tram and get back over to the beach to see the light in the fire, or at least see that before the fire's over. So we're like, cool, no big deal. We get back to the room, we get things changed. We're like, we got plenty of time here, we're good to go. And she looks up the thing, and instead, 5:30, our dinner reservations for 6:30. And I'm like, shit. I'm like, well, that kind of sucks, because we had that weird, gap of time before, but now we got a couple extra hours, and I'm like, okay, what are we doing here? Like, this doesn't quite make sense in that. So I'm like, hey, she goes, well, you can go upstairs on the balcony and have a cigar. And I'm like, I do not want to go sit up on that hard-ass, uncomfortable, shitty chairs and have a cigar. So let's just jump on the tram. Let's run back over to the beach club and have a cigar. And worst case scenario, we get back to the reservation to our dinner a little bit late, because the restaurant used to open until 6:30. And I'm like, every time we get there when it first opens, it's always something stupid like they don't have our bread baked yet, and they forget us because we came in like right as they opened up, and they somehow skipped us, and they give everybody else bread. We are getting our bread with our main course instead of an appetizer and anything. So let's just give it 50 minutes. We're 50 minutes late for our things. It says 6:30 to 7:30, which I assume means we can come in there anytime during that hour gap. That's when we can be there, but we'll see what happens. So went ahead, ran back over to the beach club, ended up having ourselves I had a cigar. We actually grabbed a serving of glazed spare ribs also. So we ended up having a little bit of ribs. We just shared one little portion of it. They were actually surprisingly pretty good. They were pretty tasty. Finished my cigar. The cigar burned all kinds of funny, man. It was all kinds of weird. Like, it wouldn't stay lit. The wrapper on the outside fell apart. Luckily, it's one of my cheaper cigars, but I didn't bring an extra with me, or I would have just thrown it away and got a different one, because they're so cheap. You expect it to have a mistake every now and then. But like, it burnt up like in the like half an inch up past where it was actually the tip. It like burned a hole into the thing that would draw with this shit. And I thought I was able to somewhat get it to draw again. And it was not the most pleasurable cigar by any means, but it was a beautiful sight as I watched the sun go down never quite got to sunset, but got close. Watched a bunch of people trying to swing on the swings in the water, and watch people fall off the swings, and most people sit on the swing. Everybody there is trying to stand up on the swing and get for a better photo. And there was a couple ladies there who I'm assuming are running around trying to do Instagram modeling type stuff. They were taking pictures 24/7 the whole time they're there. And one of them somehow fell off the back of the swing, and her feet were like caught on the swing, and her head's like underwater, and she is screwed right now. Like, she's not getting out of this thing for a while. And luckily, her friend next to her, I grabbed her back and shoved her up as a wave hitter, and actually shot her back out of the swing onto her feet in the water, and it worked really well. It was like, damn, that was actually kind of impressive. It was a pretty good move. So, watched a few other old people like falling off. Watched some young guys fall off the swing. It was great fun. We also laughing at people. Back where we was over at the having the cigar, there's like where you drive down, you kind of turn around, you can see clearly where everybody turns around, and then it kind of goes out on this beach part. And we watched some idiots drive through their golf cart, 4 of them in the golf cart, just driving there and just get their ass stuck. And they were stuck bad. They're out there hanging. I'm laughing at Karen's like, you go help them. I said, I'll have to help them for a while. Like, I won't make them walk back to the boat. Like, I guarantee I can get that thing out of there. It won't take that much, but I'm going to let them try on their own, because if you don't let them at least have a little bit of fear, a little bit of work into it, they're more likely to do stupid shit and do it again next time. So they finally got themselves out of there. It took them a while, but they got themselves out of there. And then, I don't know, half an hour, 40 minutes later or so, we're watching this, and sure enough, at this point, I don't feel quite so bad. I feel a little bit worse for these people. I don't feel quite as funny for them, because they turned the corner out of where everybody else turned around and saw tracks in the sand where a golf cart had clearly just went that way. They're thinking, well, clearly if somebody went that way, it's safe, because nope. They drove along, got almost the same spot, and got stuck there also. But these idiots were like trying to like push it forward. And I'm like, why are you trying to go forward? You clearly got stuck there. So they decided to start going back, and they throwing sand on the lady behind them, and she's freaking out, screaming because she got sand thrown at her. And then he throws in reverse and almost runs her, so it lunges back like just a few inches. But she's screaming, she thinks she can get run over, and I was like, holy crap. And they got somebody like reaching into the edge, like holding the gas pedal down, but it's in neutral with the shifter, and he's trying to like grind it into reverse with the motor revved all up. And I was like, oh, you guys are gonna damage some crap here. Like, this is awful. So they finally got theirs out. Some other local people there that was looking at the water, they came over and helped push them out. And then we ended up seeing ourselves a shark swim by. I couldn't tell exactly what kind it was. It was definitely not like a tiger or nothing. It was, I'm guessing, like a nurse, probably, or maybe a lemon. It was nothing, the tiger shape was way different. It was not a white, obviously for where we're at. But, I'd say probably 5, maybe 6 foot swim through. And with the clear water, it was really cool. You could see him there, but he wasn't at the surface, so it never proved out. You couldn't see his dorsal or nothing to help identify him. But swam out around the point. I ran down by there trying to get a better look at him, and couldn't quite get enough image to tell me exactly what kind of shark it was. But it was definitely a cool little experience. A lot of other people that were down by there, they looked up and they saw him, and they were pretty excited about that too. So we had a good time. Basically left the beach club, headed back over to the boat, got in the boat, got ourselves changed and whatnot, headed to dinner. Karen got cleaned up a little bit, headed up to dinner, ended up having Mexican food, sitting next to the same couple we sat by the very first night, which is one of the things this boat does do. A lot of times we've had our boats where you set like a table of 8 or 10 people, and you sit with them every night for dinner, and that's your reservation. And it's kind of nice because you end up getting to talk to them over a longer meal. You get to kind of know them every single night. And we actually made some friends on our second cruise, I think it was, we're still friends with, that we met them on the cruise, and we're still Facebook friends with them. And even last time they came down to Orlando, they were flying out, or cruising out of Miami, flew to Orlando, they had an extra time. We met like in Sanford, and we hung out, we all ended up having dinner together and stuff. And that was before the pandemic, because Mom was actually here then too. So 18 months ago, whatever it was, like that, maybe 2 years ago, whatever it was coming upon. And we basically, had a great time, hung out with them, and we still talk on Facebook and stuff, so it's kind of cool there. But this one, you don't have the same people, you don't see them all the time. So we end up having a couple next to we talked to. Then another couple we had at dinner with, I guess a mother and son and his friend. But they end up being like 2 tables down from us. We're trying to talk to them, but it's that weird, you're kind of like yelling over at middle tables, so we really get a chance to talk to them very much. As we left, we tried to talk to them. But we would like to have caught up with them and seen what their day was like, but we didn't get to because we were heading out of the restaurant and we're blocking people because there's no real aisle to stand. It's very small. It's a boat. Everything's packed in really tight. So we left there. Food was fine. It was good. I wish I would have got the pork. I tried to get the striped bass. I thought, hey, it's striped bass. I like fish. And it was just, it's hard to do fish really, really well. And everybody said the pork was good. She had the steak. Steak was very good. It was a very nice meal. We headed down to the Wake. That's what it's called, right? The Wake. Headed down and stuff. She wanted another one of the lemon desserts. We get there and I was like, I'll try the baked Alaska, whatever. I got to try something different. And the desserts didn't really impress me that much last time. but she wanted the lemon dessert again. And then somehow there she finds the creme brulee, whatever, that she somehow missed the first time. I don't know if it changed the menu or she didn't see it. That's one of the things she gets in the boat. Almost every time she sees on the menu for dessert, she gets creme brulee, gets to break the little caramelized top, the whole 9 yards. She orders it, and the top was more like Jello that had like hardened, not Jello, but pudding, like the pudding skin, than it was the caramelized, hard, crunchy. Like you're not breaking through it with your little spoon or your hammer type thing. It was not nothing like we'd ever expected it to be. It was not that great. She got the lemon again. I got the baked Alaska, and it was not great. I was like, this ain't that good at all. So we said to hell with it and end up, she ate the desserts, what she wanted of the 3 of them, whatnot. And then from there, we got out of there, head over to Lick Me Till I Scream, which is such a dumb name, but it's fun. It is what it is. Grabbed myself a couple scoops of ice cream there and whatnot, and it worked out well. This is where I ride my bike down through here. This is where I come across, so give me an idea of how far I ride the bike down. But it's serious stuff, and we were basically grabbed some ice cream, hung out there a little bit, ended up kind of running around the boat, just kind of nothing really major going on tonight. A lot of things were already closed down, like none of the shops opened back up, which was really weird. Kind of thought it would have. People like last day wanted to do some shopping, maybe they decided to look at the earrings for this whole time, finally decided it's time to buy them, and nope, none of the shops are open. Ended up heading back to the room, finally just said hell with it. Got back there, TV would turn on. I thought I'd turn the TV on, watch a little bit of something while we're packing up, and TV doesn't work. So I called down the front desk. The lady keeps saying, basically I said I'm trying to turn the power on the TV. I'm hitting the TV button on the remote, on the thing and stuff up here on the, which is like a little tablet thing. And she goes, top left. And I'm like, yes, the TV power button's on the top left. I have it. I push the button, nothing to have the TV. And she's like, the top left. And I'm like, the top left of what? And she's like, no, the top left. And I'm like, okay, top left the TV or the top left the remote? And I'm like, what the hell? And she's like, no, the top left. And I'm like, what the fuck is the top left of what? And finally she goes, with the screen. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I realize she's saying tablet, not top left. She's saying tablet, which, okay, fine. But when I say top left and you say yes, I say yes, I have that. I push the button, nothing happens on the TV. Then you just say top left again. I don't know what the hell you're saying. So we had fun with that one. Finally, she goes, I'll send somebody up. And I'm like, okay. So now we're packing around, we're getting stuff. I wanted to get undressed and into like my night clothes so I could put these clothes away. But I have no idea when somebody else is showing up, and I don't want to stand here in like my boxer shorts when somebody shows up to work on my TV. So finally they show up and they're like, you have the remote. I'm like, I have the tablet. That's all I have is a tablet. They won't turn the TV on, won't do shit. It doesn't work. My lights doesn't work. My curtains doesn't do nothing. So like, okay, well, they should usually put a remote control in here. I said, nobody's given me or told me nothing. We have not been communicating with anybody of even how this shit works. Like, we were given a tablet and no instructions even. So they basically goes, well, let me go find it. They don't have a remote here. They usually hide one here. We don't see it. So I headed out to go find another remote, came back. I'll be back in 2 minutes. 12 minutes later, they show back up. At this point, I'm like, I don't even want the damn TV on at this point. I want to just take my clothes off and go to bed, so I'm virtually done packing. They finally show back up, get the TV turned on, and leave me a remote control that I can use instead of the tablet. So, or top left, as I was hearing it called. So we got that figured out. It was just, yeah. And we also were told you had to have your, by other people on the boat, not by staff or not by notification, that if you want your bags checked out for the porters and you pick them up at the baggage claim, you have to have them out by like 10 o'clock that night before you actually get off the boat, which most boats have something, but they have signs all over and like little comments on the TV that basically scroll through, remind you of things like that, but that wasn't the case here. So we just said hell that we're going to take all of our own luggage off because I'd much rather suffer and carry all that crap out of here than I ever would want to try and go back through baggage claim again at a port, because holy crap, that was miserable. Those were absolutely the worst times of trying to find your bags in a warehouse full of 10,000 bags. And they say they're going to put them in like 100 numbers. So like if your room is like 298, they'll put them in the 200 to 300 range, but it'll end up in the 500 somehow. Like there's no way of knowing. We've never found our bag anywhere even near where it's supposed to be, and it just absolutely sucks. But look how bad that van's weighted down. Jesus. There's a van that people are like apparently living in or moving out of or something. That thing is like dragging the ground almost in the back. It's awful. But got done, finally said hell, it just headed to bed and called it a night. But we had a really great day. The day was fun. Running on the island, we had a great time. That was a lot of fun. We were glad we did the whole golf cart rental, and it was worth it because we would have sat at the beach. Otherwise, we would have not really done nothing. They had a little place called Kayak Beach, which I actually stopped at. They had little umbrellas out there, like little fancy tiki hut looking umbrellas and stuff, but no chairs, no people. It had like a little food truck, nobody there at all. I don't know if it's during busier days when there's other boats that don't have the beach club rented, they'll actually put people there. to rent kayaks and whatnot and stuff, but didn't have that as an option there. But the pool at the beach club was a little bit loud. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't quite as bad as the boat. But if you were up near the pool, it would have been too loud to really talk to each other. Luckily, down by the beach where we hung out, it was not that bad at all. So, but anyway, that's all I got for right now. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Have yourself a safe, wonderful day. Thanks for watching.